So Chiefs wide receiver Justyn Ross could be seen in some recent training footage preparing for training camp, and I won't lie, he looks pretty freaking good, and I don't think you can write him off just yet. So we've got to get into that training footage, talk about tight end Jared Wiley's high expectations of himself, rees-zammit sharing they are cooking up some creative plays for kick returns, and more. But first, how about those? All right, pre-camp practice number 2 of 3 before the vets get in. Came and went today. No big injury news or anything crazy like that, which is perfectly fine with me. It was a very nice 70-ish degrees out there at St. Joseph, Missouri, and how do I wish the weather would remain like that throughout the entirety of training camp. The same 37 players that practiced yesterday also practiced today. You can see every single player on this screenshot here from Arrowhead Pride, so pause if you want to read each and every name individually. I'm not doing that. Then the same non-rookies could be seen out there working with trainers, and those were Derek Nottie, Charles Omenihu, and Jalen Watson, with Pete Sweeney noticing Watson doing more than the others running-wise, which would be a positive sign, I think, in his progress. For what it's worth, though, wasn't a lower body injury that Jalen Watson sustained. He had shoulder surgery this offseason, a surgery that I've had twice. On this shoulder here, it's no fun to rehab out of, but hopefully Watson will be ready to go by the start of the regular season. Now, I've got some good news about another defensive back who was working back from an injury/surgery himself, an injury he sustained last training camp, and that is defensive back Nazeeh Johnson. He tore his ACL during an indoor practice, but he told me yesterday, which was his birthday, by the way, so happy freaking birthday to him, that he got fully cleared from his ACL repair and rehab. So he's officially back at full go, building confidence once again and getting reaccustomed to guarding wideouts in their routes and all that fun stuff for this training camp. He's definitely a guy that can make a push for that starting cornerback 2 spot alongside or opposite Trent McDuffie. So keep your eyes out for him this training camp. Another guy to keep close tabs on is going to be the Chiefs' 4th round draft pick in tight end Jared Wiley. The 6'6", 260-pound athlete of a tight end spoke with the media today, and you can tell that even though he led all of college football with 8 touchdowns last year, he wants to be known as a solid, trustworthy, all-around tight end more than anything else. He places high expectations on himself, waking up every day saying, "You can't have a bad day today out there because everyone else is going to have a great day." And honestly, I really like that mindset, the underdog mentality. He's diving deeper into the playbook and coming along pretty well as training camp gets here. He also mentioned he's picking up a lot from Travis Kelce's tape, how he manipulates and disguises his routes especially, and I really do like to hear that. Wiley said he felt that he got overlooked a lot in college, and he aims to pride himself in being a complete tight end, a guy that enjoys doing the dirty work of blocking as well. He said it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 10, he just wants to be out there on the field. And in regards to his goals and aspirations for his rookie year, Wiley's answer was a pretty solid one.
Just come in and contribute. I know it's in our room. We got me, Irv, Noah, Garrett, obviously Trav. We have a really talented group. So if I can, find a way to come in and contribute as much as I possibly can, whether it's on special teams, anything they want me to do on offense, that'd be my biggest goal, is just to prove that I belong in that room and just to, be able to be on the field with those guys.
Wiley went on to say that Mahomes is the best quarterback he's ever been around, and he's super blessed to be able to get some reps in with him before everyone else gets here to St. Joseph. He's locked in here at camp. No TVs, no video games. He wants to stay ahead of the curve and focus on taking care of his health first and foremost as he gears up for his first NFL season. And I'm not sure what the outcome of his rookie year will look like stats-wise, but I do hope he catches on quickly and either, or both would be ideal, helps play a role in relieving the overall snap count of Travis Kelce so Kelce can get a bit of rest from time to time, and or gives defenses a major headache with both of them out there on the field together. Someone else that should give defenses a headache when out there on the field is the very speedy 1st round draft pick in Xavier Worthy. He caught 2 nice passes from Mahomes today, including this nice touchdown grab. In fact, Worthy had a pretty great red zone period today, catching 3 of 4 targets total, all for touchdowns. Then the newly signed Kyle Sheets, the wide receiver that I talked more about in yesterday's video, you can see that here if you want, he caught back-to-back difficult touchdown grabs himself. So that's going to be a guy to watch. I don't know what the future holds for him, but he is one of the few bigger-bodied receivers out there, and worth watching in my opinion. Maybe he catches on enough to earn a practice squad spot and slow cook there for a season, considering he is from a D2 college, but we shall see what happens. Now, here in a bit, I want to show some recent footage from another big-bodied receiver in Justyn Ross. He was seen training alongside Skyy Moore and McCole Hardman, with Ross looking pretty snappy out there and appearing to put on some weight. But before I get to that, I want to talk about another guy that I'm pretty excited about, maybe more excited about for next year rather than this year, and that is offensive lineman Hunter Nourzad, the Chiefs' 5th-round pick from this year out of Penn State. As a reminder, he has experience playing all over the line, starting 10 games at right tackle in 2019 and 2021, no games in 2020 due to COVID. Then in 2022, he started 8 of 11 games at left guard, and then in 2023, he started all 13 games at center. So this man can play tackle, guard, or center, and is most likely the new Swiss Army depth piece of the O-line, with Nick Allegretti now with the Commanders. Nourzad also spoke with the media today, saying the offensive line is very cohesive, with the culture here very welcoming. Everybody is working together and building solid relationships with each other during the process of also competing for spots on the roster. Hunter is working everywhere along the O-line right now, with no certain spot in particular, which makes complete sense for the time being, given the fact that he could be used to plug and play anywhere along the line should injuries strike this season. Being out there with Patrick Mahomes has been awesome. He said he's excited to get the opportunity to get to snap to a quarterback like that. It also helps that he's getting to learn from one of the best centers in the NFL, Creed Humphrey, a guy that has so much knowledge to give about his technique and play. Hunter's goal is to get every ounce of wisdom he can from Creed during his time here, and he noted the vets have already been a valuable resource to the young guys on the line. Another goal for Hunter is specifically regarding training camp, and that's to show everyone he can hang with these guys competing at a high level, and is doing everything in his power to do just that. He's taking as many notes as possible during meetings and soaking up this playbook via repetitions and repetitions of writing things down over and over and over. Another player that's been studying the hell out of the playbook is the former Welsh rugby star running back Lewis Rees-Zammit. He shared that rugby prepared him physically as far as the conditioning is concerned. I mean, if you watch a rugby game, they run around like maniacs the entire game. It's pretty impressive to watch. But football is so different than what he's been used to, so he's really trying to stay on top of things mentally. He wants to learn the playbook inside and out so he can just fly around out there, think less, and just go out and play fast. That's why learning the playbook is so important to him. I mean, he mentioned the importance of learning the playbook off and on throughout his entire presser. And to help with that, Lewis said he spends an extra 2 hours a day after meetings before bed continuing to study.
I probably go to bed at 10 p.m, so an extra 2 hours just learning the plays.
LRZ also knows he's behind the curve compared to the average football player, as he trained in pads and a helmet for just 2 months in the player pathway program. Meanwhile, these other guys have been playing since they were wee little children.
You know, because I'm playing catch up with, a lot of people that have played American football since they were little kids, 6 years old. So, there's no time to rest for me. I've got to, give this my all, because ultimately this is my dream. And to make it come true, then I've got to play. I've got to be a step ahead of a lot of people.
Rees-Zammit said a successful rookie year for him would be, for starters, just to make the team. Special teams is going to be massive for him, probably the key way he could contribute on the team if he makes the roster, but he also knows the importance of learning the offense enough to be helpful, specifically in pass protection.
As I said, learning the running back roles, being able to learn pass protection, and then learning my routes off that. I think, all of it adds up, and the main way I'm going to make this team is by learning pass protection and be able to be a key role in special teams.
In regards to the new kickoff rules, he mentioned Dave Tobe had some creative things planned and in the works, but we're going to have to wait for preseason to see what those are. Lewis has plenty of teammates helping him all along the way as well, noting that the entire running back room is a tight-knit group. They push each other and challenge each other, and the quarterbacks have also been a great help. He mentioned Carson Wentz by name there, and then Rees-Zammit talked about his rugby skill set and being able to bring that into the sport of football, but also acknowledging the way you run and brace for impact from opponents is completely different. So he's aiming to be himself, but adapt along the way, and he basically can't wait for the pads to come on and feel the difference between getting hit in rugby and in football. And to be clear, he's not afraid, just very excited. All in all, he's at the place he wants to be, with the Kansas City Chiefs, learning from the coaching staff that they have and playing alongside the players on the roster. And I'm sure it helps that Patrick Mahomes, i.e. QB1 of the entire league, is the quarterback for the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce is also on the roster. Prolific players who helped contribute massively to the Chiefs becoming a legitimate dynasty. I personally have no idea what to expect from rees-zammit. He's never played a snap of football in his life, but I cannot help but root for the kid. You can tell he wants to be here, saying this is a lifelong dream of his since he was a child to play in the NFL. He certainly has the physical traits, and I'm rooting for an underdog story. Another underdog story I've continued to follow has been that of wide receiver Justyn Ross, a guy who's battled a ton of injuries. He had the neck fusion, multiple surgeries in his foot. And then last year was his first full year. He was going to be a full go with the team, made the roster, then was suspended for like 6 or so games right in the middle of the season. However, he's looking pretty good out there, training with wide receiver specialist, top shelf TJ of top shelf performance, and he could be seen very recently working out with teammates Skyy Moore and McCole Hardman as well. Speaking of Skyy, I'm about as unsure about his future with the team as I am Justyn Ross's, especially with the wide receiver room being so competitive. But I'm not going to lie, seeing this recent Justyn Ross footage does have me a little bit back on the Justyn Ross hype train. I think I'm just ready for football in general, but he does look good. If anything, it's to see some fun training camp battles from him and maybe some flashes during preseason games. But he's appeared to have bulked up a bit and is looking sharper, a little bit more crisp in his route running than he did last offseason. So that's good news. You see him getting better, and he's even further removed from any of his injuries with another year in KC's system under his belt. And I'm not going to write the guy off just yet. He's still on there as somebody, at least in my opinion, who could be pushing and competing for a roster spot alongside Nico Remigio as like that wide receiver 5-6 spot. And that's where I want to get your guys' updated thoughts. Where do you currently lean as far as the Justyn Ross hype train is concerned? Are you fully off of it? Like, nah, I did that last year, not doing it again. Or are you still there holding out some hope that he can more consistently show the flashes of greatness he had in college before all of his injuries? Let me know either way in the comments down below. And before I get out of here, it looks like tomorrow's practice, July 19th, so Friday's practice, is typically ran without Mahomes and some of the other vets. So I'm not sure how much coverage we are going to get from tomorrow's practice as a whole, but vets are set to arrive on Friday as well, with a conditioning test being ran sometime before Sunday's practice, with everybody combined the first official day of camp. I do want to point out, though, it looks like there's going to be a 5-day ramp-up period before the pads do come on at camp, which is expected to be Friday the 26th at this point in time. So until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?